Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is NDIFON Ntui. On this channel I make sewing tutorials. I post new videos every Wednesdays and Saturdays, so if you're into stuff like this, make sure to check back on those days to watch new content. Thank God we all made it into a new year. At least if you are watching this, that's proof that you've made it into 2021, and hopefully this year will be a better year than last year. In this video I'm going to show you how to apply beads to the dress. So you've seen the thumbnail, you've seen the bureau sequence before this one. I'm currently working on this dress. I'll be posting different parts of the dress, so today I'm going to show you guys how I cut it, how I carve it, and how I install the beads neatly. In the next class I'm going to show you how to install the beads on the shoulder and how to attach the collar, and after that how to attach the bottom part of the dress. So if you love the dress that you saw on the thumbnail, obviously you are attracted to it, that's why you clicked on the video. I'm going to show you how to make the dress completely, but would handle it in different parts. If you like the video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, do not forget to subscribe. Also, if you are a beginner or if you're a person who wants to brush up on your skill, I offer online courses. I'll be showing a demo how to make a jumpsuit for you to watch and decide if it's convenient for you to learn online. If you're interested, send a WhatsApp message to the number that you can see on the screen. Please WhatsApp message only, don't call my number. don't call me. You should stop calling me around 10 o'clock at night, please. Have a lovely day. Do enjoy the video. Bye bye. You're welcome to this video. In this video we're going to work on the dress that you can see, the top parts of the dress that you can see in the image right here. So now first thing is, let's analyze the entire top. Now we first of all are going to have to draft a bodice that has a princess dart, as we can see here, and also we would have to make a we'll have to cut it like a halter neck. Okay, so we'll cut off the shoulder, but then we'll replace the shoulder back using the beads that you can see there. So for this, and also in the center you can see that we have some beads around the center. So I'm going to also show you guys how we are going to attach that too as well. I think here I can see some threads, but yeah, we'll attach ours from our thread will be on the inside. I would skip some steps, okay, because I have done them already. Okay, so stuff like the princess darts, I've done that already. So stuff like the princess darts and how to pad the princess darts, I have done that already, so I'm not going to bother with that again. But if you're interested, please make sure that you see, to fully understand the entire top, make sure that after this video you see my video on how to draft a princess dart, how to pad a princess dart. So with that out of the way, let's begin. You can see here I have my stones already. All right, so these are the stones that I'm working with for the shoulder and the center parts. All right, so you need to get crystals. This is the lace I'm working with, that is my fabric. Okay, so now let's begin. Okay, so here I have my pattern paper. I'm going to now draft my bodice onto my pattern paper and draft my princess dart onto my bodice. Okay, but the first thing I'm going to do now is I'm going to draft show you guys what to do at the shoulder. First of all, make sure that you put your paper on a fold. Okay, I'm going to draft the shoulder part of the bodice only for you guys to see. For the rest of, to understand whatever I would do, see the video on how to draft a princess dart. It's basically the same thing I'm going to do here. The only difference is when I draw my ½ inch at the top of my paper, this line I just placed now is meant for my shoulder. All right, that line there is meant for my shoulder. What I'm going to do is I'm going to place the shoulder measurements. The shoulder measurement is 15. Okay, so I'm going to divide 15 into two places. 15 divided by 2 is 7.5. I'm going to come up here and I'm going to make a mark at 7.5. all right, and then what I'm going to do next is I'm going to slope my shoulder by 1 inch. So I'm not going to place a neckline width or a neckline depth yet. Okay, I'm going to do that when I've drafted everything else. All right, so I'm going to do my neckline with neckline depth after I have drafted everything else. Okay, so the neckline with and neckline depth is supposed to sit something here like this, but that will come in later. Okay, but before after this scene, the next thing you will see is that I've drafted out my bodice already, and I've marked out my princess dart points. Okay, so what you can see here is the bodice so far. Now what I have done is for the green line represents the actual body. So this is the bust, this is the under bust round, this is the half cut, that's the shoulder that I showed you. All right, and the red line represents what I did for my princess dart. So like I said, go into my princess dart video in order to understand that step. Okay, now the next thing we have to work on is we have to make we have to create the space for the cut for the halter neck. So for that, I'm going to use a blue marker to represent the line for my halter neck. Okay, so now what you want to do is you want to place a neckline width. You want to place a neckline width of 2.8. Okay, of 2.8. 2.5 would be a bit too tight. Okay, and we don't want it to choke her. It's not like to be tight, to just be really snug. For this, I think I want to have a bit of allowance, especially on the sides. Okay, and then for the depth, you want to use 2.5 for the depth. So you see, I'm marking all my measurements from the ½ inch that I have here down. I'm not marking it from the top of my paper. Okay, so 2.5 from that point there all the way down. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to draw a line from here to here, and we're going to draw a line from here to here, and then we're going to make a circle. Okay, so that there is my neckline. Now the next thing I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to create the part of that of the armhole, that's of the shoulder that will hold the crystals. So to do that, what you want to do is you want to come ½ inch away from the shoulder here. So ½ inch away from the shoulder, I need you to make a curve from there to here. So what you will do is this: from where you marked your neckline, okay, I want you to come out by ½ inch, and I want you to make a mark. Okay, just a very little mark, and then I need you to draw a line from there all the way down to here. Okay, so if you have a curve like mine, it's going to make this a lot easier. So you're going to first of all draw a line like so, and then you want to connect it to the armhole that you have here. Okay, now what you want to do is this. So you saw the main cut that I had for my princess dart. Okay, this is where I extended the line so that here would meet with here. So what you want to do is, after you have joined this new blue line where you would cut, I need you to still come out again. Okay, still come out at this point here by roughly ½ inch. If you don't trust the way you join them together, you can increase this distance here to 0.7, and then what you want to do is draw the new armhole. So that is for that. Please make sure that you keep this piece intact. You will need it when you are installing the beads, as you will see. Okay, so now when you're cutting, this is how you cut. Okay, so this piece that you have here is the center piece. This here, this is the part for the princess dart. This is the side for the front. Now you've seen already that there is an opening in front. There's a cut in front that has the beads installed through it. So now we need to create that point. So what you want to do is you want to come from up here. You see this place here, you want the place that you installed the beads to start from ½ inch after the neckline. Okay, don't take it straight up to the neckline. If you take it straight up, I don't want you to have issues when you're installing your beads, so that you don't end up making it too wide. So up here I want to have solid fabric. Matter of fact, come down by 1 inch, because we're going to need to turn it. So from the edge here, edge of paper, come down by 1 inch and make a mark. The same thing at the bottom, come up here and make a mark at 1 inch. Okay, and then what I want you to do is I want you to come to the center and mark 1 inch in. Okay, now you can take it deeper, but know that the deeper you go, the more flesh you'll be showing in the center of her chest. Some people like it, some people don't. I'm going to take in only 1 inch. Okay, but if the person really wants to expose some flesh, you can go in by 2 inches, but it's going to be really round, and you would end up consuming a lot of stones. Okay, a lot of the stones will be consumed. Now you're going to need to make a curve. So you see this, you are going to come from here, from this point, and open up to the 1 inch. Okay, open up to the 1 inch, and once you hit the center part here, that's the bust area where you have the 1 inch, you want to start closing it up. Okay, so you see that, that's how you do that, nice and easy. I'm going to show you guys how we finish it neatly. So cut this piece off. So you see that, and this is what you're going to have in the center. So you see this is where we're going to have to install beads. All right, we're going to use this pattern to cut both the fabric and the lining, but next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to draft the back of the bodice. So I'll draft the back of the bodice like a regular bodice, but I'll show you how we cut off the shoulder so that it corresponds. We cut off the, remember, the alternate shoulder, so that it corresponds with this one. Okay, now this is the paper for the back. I'm not going to put it on a fold. Okay, I put the one in the front on the fold so that I can show you that effect that the center would have, so that you will see it come to life. But as for the back, don't put it on a fold when you are drafting. That's going to be waste of paper, because there's nothing really going on with the back. All right, so here you can see I have drafted a regular bodice. Okay, but still I didn't touch the neckline, just like what I did in the front. This is where I place my dots. This is my allowance. So everything that you see here, like I said before, you can see it in the video on how to draft a princess. That will fully explain you and give the step by step. I've already done it before, so I don't want to punish my old subscribers, or the people that have been subscribed to me for a long time, by making them watch the video all over again. All right, so now next thing I'm going to do, please, the neckline width for the back and the front has to be the same thing. So the neckline with the same thing I used in front is the same thing I'm going to use right here. All right, and then for the neckline depth, you want to use 1 inch. Okay, 1 inch from the line up here. All right, okay, so you see that I've done that there. There's no princess dart at the back. That back just has a regular dart. So the next thing you want to do is what you did before. Come 1/2 inch after here and make a mark. Okay, and make a mark like that. And then the next thing you want to do is connect this armhole here to this 1/2 inch points that we have. Okay, so you're going to draw a line from here, make it sweep all the way down into the armhole. So you see that, to cut it out, I'm going to follow this line right here. Same thing I did before. Make sure to keep this part. Okay, this part is going to rhyme with this part here from the front. Okay, you see this here. So when we're putting our beads back, we're going to know how the beads at the shoulder should sit. This was going to help us figure that out. Okay, so make sure you keep those two parts safe. This is the back pattern. Now I'm going to, when I'm cutting the fabric for the back, I'm going to keep it on the fold and cut. Okay, and I'm also going to keep the fabric on a fold for the front when I'm cutting, so I end up with a piece in the center that's folded and 2 pieces for the side of the bust. When I cut everything, I'll show you before I start to pad. So this is the center of the front. The same way you just saw me cut the center of the front is the same way I will cut the center of the front for my lace, because there's going to be a lace on top of the satin. Okay, this is the lace I'm working with, so I'm going to cut the lace the same way, and also I'm going to cut my cloth gum, my cotton lining, sorry, the lining I intend to use for it in the same way. Now I'm going to iron on non-woven fusible interfacing to my lining. Now this is known as gum stay if you are in Nigeria, but if you are somewhere else and you're looking for it, look for non-woven fusible interfacing, lightweight. Okay, so that's the one I'm going to use. I'll bind it to my lining before I cut my lining, but the same way you just saw me cut this pattern is the way I'm going to cut my my lining and the lace that's meant for it. Alright, so now I've cut all the patterns that are meant for the front. So because I kept the fabric on the fold, I've cut 2 sides for the back, I've cut 2 sides for the side of the front, and I've cut for the center of the front. Now I'm going to use these patterns the same way I cut these patterns. I'm going to cut my my lace, and I'm going to cut my lining like I've told you guys before. So I'm going to cut that the same way I just cut this, and I'll be back. Okay, so what you can see here are all the patterns that I have cut. Alright, so I have cut the lining. Okay, you can see the lining has a white substance on the inside. That's the gum stay, the non-woven fusible interfacing that I told you guys to attach to the lining. You can see that I've cut the lace the same size. Okay, here too the same thing, there's a lining underneath that one and lining underneath this one as well. So now it's time for me to join them together. What I'm going to do is I'm going to join the lining, the lace and the fabric together to the lace and the fabric of the center piece of both this side and this side. Okay, so I'm going to join here to here. Okay, I'm going to join this side, these three pieces together, and I'm going to join the lining together as well. All right, so let me join that together. I'll join the lining separately and I'll join the fabric separately. So let me join the lining first and show you what I mean. So what you can see here is the lining. I have joined the side to the center. So I'm going to do the same thing to my fabric, but take note that the fabric is made of two pieces, the lining and the satin. So I'm going to join it together. Okay, and I'm going to join, when I'm joining it, I'm going to join the lace and the fabric at the same time. When I'm joining this, you will see what I have done at the end of the day. Make sure to see my video on how to pad a princess that in order to fully understand everything that is done here. Okay, that video explains this in detail. Okay, so now I have done the same thing to the center of the front. I have joined the side. I've done the same thing to the front. I've joined the side to the center. You can see I spread and iron my stay to lay it flat. I did everything in that video, so basically you can watch that. In this video we're trying to focus on how to install the crystals in the center neatly. All right, so now the next step before we start to install the crystals is I'm going to join these two together. So what I'm going to do is, you see this part here, the center. Okay, I'm going to join this front here. I'm going to take my lining, take the front of my lining, okay, and I'm going to place it facing the front of my fabric. All right, and then I'm going to basically sew around here. So you see this, I'm going to separate both parts like this, and I'm going to join my lining and my fabric together like this all the way around. Okay, so now you can see I have joined the lining to the fabric. Okay, I've joined the lining and the fabric together in a circle. All right, look at this. I hope you can see the line going around there. Now the next thing we're going to do is you're going to notch, okay, because we intend to turn this inside out. So we're going to notch everywhere so that it turns inside out smoothly. All right, be careful. I'm trying to be careful so that I don't end up cutting the lining. All right, now I'm going to simply just keep making notches around, because you know there is a curve, so we need to make notches so that when we turn the curve inside out, it turns inside out smoothly. Now that you're done with that, next thing, you will turn the lining inside out. If you have a steam iron, there's no need to sprinkle water, just use the steam function and iron it so that everything turns out smoothly. So after I iron this, you'll see this is the before, you'll see the after when I'm done ironing it. So yeah, this is the body after I have ironed it. Okay, it has been fully pressed, everything is laying flat. Now the next thing we have to do is we have to start installing the stones. Okay, so you can see here I have my needle, a hand needle, and I've installed thread to it. Okay, I hope the camera is picking it up. All right, so now the next thing we're going to do is, now you don't want to come from under here, okay, from under the lining and bust a hole and come up from here and stitch. What you want to do when it's time for you to start installing your beads is you want to come from between the fabric and the lining. Okay, so what you do is you pick up your fabric like this, so the lace and the satin, you pick it up. This is going to be your lining underneath. What you want to do is you want to come from a hole in between, okay, and make a stitch. This way it will be clean, both the lining will be clean, okay, both the lining and the fabric would give you a very clean appearance. Okay, so what you want to do, you come out, please start from the very bottom. Okay, all right, and then you come out from there again. Okay, so now that's the first step. So in the first step I installed one. I'm going to install 2 for the next level. Okay, now what you need to know is this: the reason why I told you to keep this pattern here, the pattern that we had when we cut out the center piece, is so that you would know how wide you want the how many strand beads that you should have running through the thickest part. So now you see this line here, this area here shows us this is the deepest part of our of the cutout that we did. Now you measure it from here to here across. This should be roughly 2 inches. Okay, so here we have 2.2, and what you should know is that by the time we join the fabric to the lining, we've consumed half an inch here, half an inch here. So that means the deepest point now across is sitting around 3.2. so what you will know is that around the bust area here, your beads, by the time you measure across, you should have 3.2. okay, so I'm going to keep on going until I get to that point. I'm going to gradually increase the amount of beads that I use until I get to that point. The space between the space you should keep between each of your stitches should be 1/4 of an inch. I'll keep on going, but you can see what we have already at the bottom. Okay, it's starting to take shape. You can see what I have at that point. All right, so I'm going to keep going until I get to the center, then I'm going to come back and I'm going to show you. All right, so that's just simply it. What you want to do once again is you lift here up. Okay, you pass your needle 0.25 after the last stitch, so that's 1/4 of an inch after your last stitch. That means the space between both of your between your last stitch and your next stitch should be 1/4 of an inch. Okay, and gradually increase the amount of beads. So at the very first level was 1. At this point I'm at 4, and as you can see, I'm at the 4th level. You can see this here. I hope the camera is picking it up. All right, there's 1, 2, 3, and now I'm installing 4. All right, so I'm going to keep on going until I get to the center, and I'll be back. Okay, so now I'm going up, and I've done level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4, level 5. At level 6, it's starting to look as if I continue opening the number, it's going to get too wide at the bottom. I want it around where you have your from the bottom here to where your underbust length is. You want to try and keep it tight. You don't want to make it too loose at the bottom. So now I've gotten to 5, and it's looking as if it's too wide. I'm going to stop. Okay, and I'm going to make it 5 until I get to the end of the underbust area. Now you see this place here, this is the underbust area. Okay, so I'm going to keep it 5 until it hits here, then I'm going to continue to open up to maybe 6. But I just measured. What you should do is, when you are working with it depends on the size of the beads that you are working with. Okay, but for mine, I've placed all my stones, okay, on my tape, so you can see what I'm doing here. I've laid all the stones down on the tape, and I can see that it will take me 10 stones, okay, to get the widest point. So at the widest point, which is around here, I want to have 10 stones around that area, okay, for some time before it goes down. So make sure you place your tape down, drop your stones side by side, and see how much you would need at the deepest point, so that you know how many beads should land in the center points. I hope that makes sense. Okay, I placed all my beads side by side, and I've seen that by the time I got to 3 inches, I need, it's 3.2, but I'm going to reduce the number to 3 inches. By the time I got to 3 inches, I need 10 stones. Okay, so at the deepest, at my bust here, where the center is at its widest, I should have 10 stones running across. Okay, so from here, after I pass I get to my underbust length, before I get to my underbust length, I will keep 5 constant, because I've seen that 5 is just the sweet spot. Okay, using my eyes, 5 is just the sweet spot, so I'll keep it at 5 until I get to my underbust length. Then I'll gradually open it up to 6, 7, 8, 9, and by the time I get to the center point, that's the deepest point of the bust, you should have 10. You keep it 10 constant for like 3 or 4 levels, and then start to reduce it gradually until you get to the top. I would give you more tips as I go along. All right, so this is what I have done so far. Okay, this is what I've done so far, and it's looking really nice already. Okay, this is what we have here so far. Now what I have done is, as I've gotten to my first 10, I have stopped at this point. Okay, I want to come from up here. Okay, and I'm going to start from 1, 2, 3, and you know, it's to graduate, like what happened at the bottom here. Once again, the outside is clean and the inside of your lining too is clean as well. Look at what's happening inside my lining here. Okay, you can see this, there is no thread mark showing. Okay, and that's exactly what we're trying to achieve here. Okay, so here you can see I have finished installing my beads in the center. Okay, so that's how I went about this. That's all for the video today. This is just to kick off the new year. In the next class I'll show you how to build the back, how to join the front to the back, and how to apply attach the collar to it. Also, we'll be adding the detail around the shoulder as well in the next class. That's on Saturday. All right, so make sure that you like the video. If you like the video, make sure to subscribe if you are not, because I will be showing you how to make the entire outfit that you saw on my phone in the introductory part of this video. Excuse me, that I saw in the introductory part of this video. So that's how to go about this. Okay, nice easy tutorial. So I will see you guys in the next video. Have a nice day. Bye bye.